Okay, my name's Zakashi, guys, and in this video here we're gonna be making a tier list. Well, we already made the tier list, me and the live stream. You can't see them, but they are here, and I'm gonna explain the list rather than go through the list and make it with you guys watching on YouTube. This is a list right before we get the finale for the looming Nemesis campaign, whatever it is. So just sit back, relax, everything will get explained, but of course you can leave your opinion in the comment section below. Let's get into this, man. Of course, we gotta do the usual. If you want to make a tier list of your own, go ahead and follow DNGEE_YT, Dingy_YT, as he's the one that makes the tier list that we're going to be using for this video. Here's the link right here if you want to go ahead and make your own tier list, but definitely go ahead and subscribe to his channel, give him a follow. He's on the way to 4,000 subscribers. Now, let's get into this video. Okay, so here's the tier list. We already have everything in place. We got number 1 Super 17, number 2 Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, number 3 Ultimate / Beast Gohan, number 4 Bomku, number 5 Revival Cell, number 6 Ultra Instinct Goku, number 7/8 you can have Cell and Jiren, number 9 you've got UG4. I'm a bit excited about G4, sorry. We got Zenkai 7 Legends Limited G4, and number 10 we got Bardock and Goku. However, the guys in the honorable mentions could also hit that 10th space. So that's the list. Let's go into explaining every single unit on this list and why they have each placement they have. Right, so one of the most controversial on the list, and I think something that's gonna bring up the most debate in this tier list here, we have LL Super 17 and Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now for the guys ready to already type and bang away at their keyboards, please deduct your bias. It's very important that you deduct your bias because everybody likes Gohan over Super 17, almost 100% rate. It just makes a lot of sense. But we have to look about how they actually play in the meta and their value for elements and kit. The reason why Super 17 is number 1, and in my opinion, but really and truly, I don't class it as an opinion, I take it as a fact. The reason why it's not interchangeable is because Super 17 puts in the most work anytime they're on the same team. Now, you might think that's disagreeable because Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, he has the dodge, you know, he can break out against strikes and whatnot. He has the explosive green, he also has endurance, he's good with comebacks. Of course, that's all very much true. But for the whole battle that you're using both of them on the same team, which they are on the most popular and most used team, most dominant team used right now in ranked PvP, Super 17 stops you from playing the game, which is way more of a hindrance than anything else Gohan can do on that team. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the first thing, if he tap attacks you, and not just tap attacks close range, it could be tap shots, you will lose the ability to use your strike cards and your blue cards. That is a big hindrance no matter what, because most units will have one of those two cards. Even if you're using a blast based team, you still have strike cards and blue cards which you won't be able to use where you might want to use them. So that's something you should very much consider, how inconvenient it can be when you're playing PvP. The second reason is Super 17 has a guaranteed KO, and I'm talking about his green card. Gohan can do nothing of the sorts where he's guaranteed going to kill you. Fair enough, in some cases he might catch you in a green card, but it's really situational. But you know with Super 17, if you have the green card and you catch somebody with it, pretty much as long as you have a Rise and Rush guaranteed kill, Ultimate Arts is going to be guaranteed damage. It's safer and you get more benefits out of it. But even if you want to take all of that out, 17 has longer combos, more oppressive combos. The way his gauge fills is super rapid. He can also be more useful off the cover change. For example, he draws the Ultimate Arts. Not to say that Super 17 is easier to use or maybe harder to use depending on how you feel about each unit. But I think, and in most cases, if you are fighting the red green team, Super 17 is going to cause you the most inconvenience in battle 100% of the time. Gohan, much better for comebacks, and I can easily see that. But Super 17, when it comes to being consistently oppressive, putting that chokehold on you so you can't beat the team, Super 17's got it, which is why he just clears. That's the explanation for number 1. I don't really need to go into number 2 either. They kind of come together in that point. But of course, this is not a disrespect to Ultra Gohan. They're pretty much right neck and neck. But for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, and again, even though it's my opinion, I don't feel like it's debatable, Super 17 really is the head of the team, whereas Gohan is right there at number 2. Number 3 here, we have Ultimate / Beast Gohan. Now, the reason I've got him here is because there are 2 variations of red green that a lot of people see in PvP. It's about 90 to 95% of the games that you'd fight. when you're fighting people, especially in the highest ranks, so I'm talking BR70 and above, if you're not fighting red, green with Super 17 Ultra Gohan and Red Cell, you'd be fighting hybrid Saiyans, which would be Ultimate / Beast Gohan, Pan, and Ultra Gohan. So for that reason, with red being such a good oppressive color, Beast is easily top 3 in my opinion, and the chat's opinion. I think a lot of people will agree. Beast is able to provide 1v3 comebacks, in my opinion as well, a lot easier than Ultra Gohan and Super 17. When it comes to comebacks, Beast is almost unmatched in the game right now. But of course, comebacks aren't everything, but I think the ability to 3v1 is very much praised, which is why he has a lot of stock put into him. He's kind of like a second Ultra Gohan, but he has the blast armor factor, which is also good. The vanish recovery, nobody beats him in the game when it comes to that, and his blue card damage is easily top 1. I feel for those reasons, it shouldn't really be a debate why he would be number 3, but of course, people might disagree, so I gotta explain. Let's go into number 4. Now, this might be one that a lot of people might disagree with, but I think Bomku is in a safe position for 2 reasons. One of them being that he's blue, so that means he's countering a lot of reds, and reds is a very predominant color used in the meta right now. Most dominant teams, like I said, 90 to 95% are going to be red, green. So even though there is green on that team, 2 out of 3 on every single team that you're going to be pretty much facing against are going to be red, which gives Bomku a lot of value. His solar flare can cause you to actually get that one more step ahead. He's able to heal a lot, he comes with endurance, and let's also point out the fact that if the enemy has people dead, his ultimate, or main ability rather, gets that extra boost. So if one person's dead, it gets a lock-in. 2 people dead, he's able to reduce your vanish and basically guarantee the hit of the ultimate, which is super useful with winning games when you're fighting against these double red teams. Plus, Bomku is actually on GT. Shock, right? You wouldn't think it. But not just that, he's also on Sun Family, so if you did want to run him, you could run him right aside all of those units that we have in this top 3 list. Best friend being Super 17 because he has a solid place on GT, but if not, and you really just wanted to, you could pair him with Ultimate Gohan, Beast Gohan, or Ultra Gohan. So number 4 is a solid placement there, that's why he's there. Right, we got number 5, and a lot of people are halfway between with this point. So some people agree with him being right in the middle, some people don't want him in the list at all. But let me explain why we've got Revival Cell at number 5. So there is this phenomenon that happened about 2 years ago. It's called the Hybrid Saiyan event, where everybody was using hybrid Saiyans. And when I say everybody, it's not like this meta where everybody's using red, green. I'm talking 100% rate of the same units every single game. We got Beast Gohan, blue, Future Gohan, yellow, and Pan, red Pan. This was 2 years ago, super solid team, and everybody was running them 100%. You literally couldn't go a game without seeing that team. Now on that team, there was an outlier, and that outlier was actually Future Gohan. He had the least value on the team, but because it was a team that you saw every single game, it's unavoidable that you'll be fighting Future Gohan. So for that reason, almost every content creator had him top 3. Now, if we apply the same logic in Dragon Ball Legends right now with Cell, like I said, 90% of the games are going to be red, green. So for good reason, Cell should really be valued. But a lot of people don't value him because of his individual status. He's pretty much getting backpacked on his team with Ultra Gohan and Super 17. Alongside that, he has good Zenkai buffs, which also buff Super 17. A lot of people want to downplay Cell and say, oh, he's getting carried by Zenkai buffs. But you also have to realize Super 17 is being fed those same Zenkai buffs. And I do understand Super 17 doesn't need the Zenkai buffs, but at the end of the day, he's also being fed the Zenkai buffs. But nobody would use that to downplay Super 17, but would use it to downplay Cell, which is obvious that there's a character bias. So if we're being realistic, there's no reason why Cell shouldn't be in the top 10 list at all. He serves purpose in the game. His revival layer is that extra step forward that you have to get through before you can break down any team that he's on. He spawns a green card, and the team that he's on is with Ultra Gohan, Explosive Green, and Super 17, Absorption Green. Post revival, he's going to get the blue card, which is also good for Ultra Gohan because it's a counter. He is quite tanky, of course, if he has the correct build, but that's with every unit, specifically because of the Zenkai buffs. If you don't have the Zenkai buffs, you're cooked. But that's the team. It's objectively the case, and it's the most run team in the game. So naturally, Cell being in the list. Now, me personally, I think the lowest he should go is top 6, but I don't want to put him above 5. I think 5 is actually just the sweet spot, simply because everybody from 1 to 4 is in such a solid position in my opinion. Going below it, UUI has just phased out because of how popular powerful opponents, androids, hybrid Saiyans, and the Gohan Super 17 team is. So Cell just fits right there because he's on the most popular team in the game. He's not complete trash, but he can't do much on his own. But he does serve purpose in the game, and it's a very large purpose considering he's on the best and most popular team in the game, and that can't be argued against no matter how you try spin it. So that's our number 5 candidate there. We got Revival Cell. Right, we got Ultra UI at 6. Ultra UI, I think he could move a lot lower, but I think it depends on the person as well. I always have UI in such a position where it depends on the player really and truly. Ultra UI could very dead be the worst character in the game. Not literally, but I'm saying it's due to how the person who's using them uses them. But he could also be one of the best in the game simply because of how the person uses them. I think his ability to stop you from cover changing can guarantee kills. His combo potential is not bad at all, and the fact that he can dodge stuff consistently really just brings his stock up. His element isn't the best, I'll be honest, especially right now. But his kit is so solid. He's also on the Sun family. Saiyans is kind of faded out, but he can still be pushed in there. A lot of people also try to use Universe Rep because Jiren is also of value right now, with a lot of greens being valuable, specifically Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So I don't have much more to say about UI because, like I said, it depends on the player. But I think he's solid enough to make still a high standing. But if you move them down on the list, I wouldn't say that's ridiculous. But moving him up, I think that's a bit too much considering how low value yellow is just off that. So yeah, that's number 6 right there. Now number 7 and 8, these are the powerful opponent stoppers that are purple, right? Their main value is the fact that they're purple, in my opinion. I don't feel like anything else really puts them high above, but they do have some kits that things in their kit that are super useful. For one, they both have explosive greens. Explosive greens literally are running the game. They are giving so many people free wins, it's absurd. So many people that don't deserve the wins as well. But of course, if you get hit by explosive green, you gotta charge that one to the game. It gives you a couple seconds to actually just get extra attack in. Super good free priority, we have to respect it. With the case of Jiren, he's tanky as hell. I'd say he's more tanky than Cell, and he also comes with endurance if anybody or anything of the opposite team happens to rush. So that's good for Jiren, but with Cell, he has the thing that takes place with the death. When he dies, he obviously gets those effects that place in, sometimes a lock in, sometimes gauge removal, things like that, etc, etc. So Cell can be super inconvenient when he dies, and he also does the AoE damage as well. So shout out to Cell, shout out to Jiren. I think if they weren't purple, they might not have as much value right now, but maybe they could have more value if they were different color. But as long as they're not yellow, it's fine. But them being purple, alongside working with Super 17, who's on this list, but if not anybody else's list, he'll be top 1, top 2. Just being a partner of Super 17 really just gets you promoted on any list. So yeah, that's how we've got them interchangeable at 7, 8. It really depends on what team you want to run. Maybe Cell would actually be higher because he also works on androids, which is also another team with Super 17. But to each their own. We got number 9 here. We got G4, called him UG4 earlier, but that was just me getting too hyped, my fault. G4, he's working alongside Super 17 and Bomku on GT. He can also be used on Fusion Warriors, which is run alongside Super 17. You lead a slot Super 17 and keep the rest of the team Fusion Warriors. So 2 teams right there where you'd be having Super 17 working with G4 perfectly. He's also green as well, so any type of red green setup that you might want to run also work. Let's also point out the fact that G4 was on a Saiyan team with a lot of other good units, but of course Saiyans has kind of faded out. But I think he's pretty much safe with being green because a lot of the meta right now, if not, like I said, been saying this whole video, 90% of the meta is literally red green. So I don't need to do much more about G4, but again, if I did want to, he has 2 ultimates. Obviously, one when there's one person left on the opposite enemy team. Green card gives him cover null, destroys all the cards. He can go type neutral on main. He's super tanky. Blast armor, of course, is just the icing on the cake. So that's my explanation for G4 being at number 9. Now, we got number 10 on this list. We got Bardock and Goku. Now, looking more at this list and having Bardock and Goku at number 10, it might be simply because we know that Bardock and Goku is super reliable. Their element is actually 2, blue and green, and they're both good elements. I'm not gonna lie, pretty safe elements as well, specifically blue because it counters a lot of the red, but green, it's not being countered too heavily besides from maybe Cell and Jiren that we have on this list. They have explosive greens as well, and like I said earlier, so many units in this game are getting backpacked by explosive greens. Free way to get priority if you have no skill. But of course, the main gimmick that they have is the indestructible layer that destroys your cards and you can't break through. It's a glorified endurance or revival, however you want to look at it. So for that, we have to give them some sort of respect. But if you did want to move them out, I wouldn't see it as ridiculous, and that's going to lead us into our honorable mentions. So to close out this video, we have the honorable mentions. We've got Super Baby 2, the new Legends Limited. We got Gold Freezer, a unit that's being used repeatedly to counter the red-red-green setup, but you have to run Gold Freezer on the LOE team, which is very, very niche. We got Pycon and Gogeta, which I feel they could easily suit the same purpose as G4. The only difference is that they work on different teams, so we have to consider that. Saiyans are not being used as much, but Pycon and Gogeta are a super good unit, especially because of the revival. And Pan, in the same way that we gave Revival Cell a lot of stock, Pan is being used second to Revival Cell on the second red-red-green setup. So if you're running the original red-red-green, which is the most based, or toxic rather, let me not say based is completely wrong word, the most toxic setup, Super 17, Ultra Gohan, and it will be Revival Cell. That's the first red-red-green setup, but the second one will just be Hybrid Saiyan / Sun Family, where you're running Red Beast, Ultra Gohan, and the support layer would be Pan. Again, one of the best teams in the game, so if you're going to be running it, Pan deserves some praise. If you wanted to put any of these units on the top 10 list, Pan will probably get you cooked, Pycon 2 maybe, but again, debatable. But Super Baby 2 and Gold Freezer, I think they deserve respect. Gold Freezer got pushed out of the meta after the 5th anniversary, after a while, just closing into the festival for numerous reasons. But of course, Gold Freezer can still be used as top of the fact they have that Rising Rush gimmick where you can't Rising Rush them. They can do long combos, they got good blue card damage, so they're not to be slept on. But I think because their team is so niche, I wouldn't personally have them in mind. But if you did put them at the 10th spot, I don't think it's ridiculous. And Super Baby 2, I think Super Baby 2 is really a glorified Ultra Broly. But they're actually good. So Ultra Broly, I do not respect that unit at all. Ultra Broly is obviously old, so I'm not saying that he's anywhere at Super Baby 2 status in this day. But Super Baby 2's gauge is actually something to fear. If he wasn't yellow, I could easily see Super Baby being a top 5 unit, and I am dead serious about that. He's on GT, who was one of the best teams in the game, and depending on his element, he could shifted the whole meta entirely. But really just his element that's holding him back, and a lot of people don't have CC to summon on him, so you don't see him shine as much. So in meta value, it's super low right now. But his gauge, if you ever run into a high Super Baby 2, do not think it's going to be a sweep, even if you're using double red. His gauge will turn you upside down. You'll be thinking, what the hell happened, man? Shout out Super Baby 2, removing your Vanish gauge off that every single time, by the way. It's to be respected. But that's pretty much the list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Agree or disagree? Let me know what you guys think about this tier list in the comment section below. I think for the reasons that was given, everything's pretty much valid, but I know some people will have their personal icks with this list. Some people might not like certain placements, specifically, like I said, the top 1 and 2. Gohan and 17 beef might go on forever. But of course, if you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button, man. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one, man.